After summer vacation began, Karin came to her grandfather's house for the first time. There, she discovered that her grandfather was raising a huge cat, and this big cat not only knew how to ride a bicycle, it could also make phone calls, and even greeted her casually. Karin was so frightened that she froze in place, completely at a loss. At the same time, she became intensely curious about this talking cat. Her grandfather told Karin that the cat spirit was named Anzu, and that he had picked him up in the forest. When Anzu was young, he was just an ordinary kitten, but as he grew up, he somehow evolved into a cat spirit who could walk upright. Even though Anzu became a spirit, he didn't have any special powers at all. Every day, he rode his bike to work, earning pocket money for the household. Because Anzu was extremely skilled at giving massages, the townspeople all loved him and treated him just like an ordinary human. Anzu's favorite time of day was getting off work. He could ride his motorcycle through the town at full speed, but he ended up getting caught red-handed by the traffic police for speeding. When the officer asked Anzu to show his driver's license, he instantly froze. After all, what kind of license could a spirit possibly have? And just like that, Anzu was taken away by the police. Although Anzu occasionally caused trouble, overall he was still very responsible. Not only did he earn money to help support the household, he also handled all the chores. The only problem was that he was careless when cooking. Half the fried rice would often spill everywhere. He would pick up squid from the floor without even washing it. He also loved telling bad jokes and farting during meals. This behavior left Karin completely speechless. After staying in the town for a few days, Karin felt deeply uncomfortable. Having grown up in a big city, she found the dull life of the small town unbearable. Every night before going to bed, she practiced doing a handstand. It had once been her mother's specialty. Back then, no matter how hard Karin tried, she could never learn it. But now, she could do it perfectly. Sadly, her mother had passed away 3 years ago. She would never have another chance to show her. Anzu seemed to sense Karin's loneliness. He brought over a slice of watermelon, hoping to chat with her, but Karin remained wary of him, because earlier that day, she had seen Anzu trick 2 boys into buying him drinks. Karin believed that since he was a spirit, he couldn't be trusted. What she didn't know, however, was that Anzu was actually very kind. One day, he came across several baby birds that had lost their way. Just as he was about to take them home, he noticed a cave in the back mountain. After going inside, he discovered that a giant frog lived there. It was Anzu's first time meeting another spirit, so he invited the frog to come over for a drink that night. What he didn't expect was that the frog would bring along all of his companions. A whole group of spirits filled the house, chatting animatedly. Just then, Karin got up to drink some water and ran into them. Seeing so many spirits, Karin wasn't scared at all. Instead, she joined them. She even told the spirits about her past. Her father had abandoned her and her mother. Not long after that, her mother passed away as well. After hearing about Karin's tragic life, the spirits were all crying uncontrollably. Only Anzu thought she was deliberately trying to gain sympathy. The next day, Karin wanted to help Anzu clean up the table, but Anzu expressed doubts about what she had said the night before. This completely wiped out the little bit of goodwill Karin had toward him. After that, in order to get back at Anzu, she told 2 little boys to steal his bicycle. Anzu stood there, stunned for a long while. Then he went home and started making weapons, preparing to fight the thief to the death once he found him. Seeing how anxious Anzu was, Grandpa decided to buy him a new bike, but Anzu insisted that he had to catch the thief, because thieves were unforgivable. Watching Anzu's naive and clumsy behavior, Karin hid in her room and laughed to herself. She also decided to forgive him for now. After that, Anzu wandered all over the town every day, searching for several days straight without finding his bike, until the 2 boys finally turned themselves in. Only then did Anzu realize that Karin had been behind it all. Anzu went to complain to the other spirits afterward, but instead, he discovered that they were all working hard to earn money for Karin. Some spirits even went out to buy lottery tickets. What they didn't know was that the next day was the anniversary of Karin's mother's death. Karin decided to take a train to Tokyo to pay her respects, but because she didn't have enough money, she got off after just 1 stop. Still, Karin didn't give up. She decided to walk all the way to Tokyo, but as she walked, she got lost. Then she accidentally fell into a deep pit. She tried every possible way to climb out, but every attempt ended in failure. Soon, she was so exhausted that she fell asleep. At that moment, the giant frog who loved digging tunnels happened to dig his way there. He unexpectedly discovered Karin, and just like that, the giant frog accidentally saved her. when it was time for dinner and Karin still hadn't returned. Grandpa hurriedly sent Anzu out to look for her. When Anzu finally found Karin, he saw her soaking happily in a hot spring. Anzu scolded her like an elder and urged her to go back with him, but no matter how much Anzu tried to persuade her, Karin refused to return to her grandfather's house. She said that tomorrow was her mother's death anniversary. She had to make it to Tokyo to pay her respects. The determination in Karin's eyes moved Anzu, so when the next day came, Anzu decided to accompany Karin on the journey. Soon, they arrived at the crematorium, but because Karin's father hadn't paid the maintenance fees, Karin was ultimately unable to visit her mother. With nowhere else to go, she sat alone on an overpass, staring blankly into space. Just then, a poor old man wearing nothing but his underwear suddenly appeared beside her. He was the god of poverty. Anyone he set his sights on would suffer endless misfortune. At that moment, Anzu walked over. Only Anzu, as a cat spirit, could see the god of poverty. He didn't want the god of poverty to bring disaster upon Karin, so he grabbed the old man by the waistband and dragged him forcefully into a remote grove. Anzu tried to persuade the god of poverty to leave Karin alone, but the god of poverty refused. At that moment, the unaware Karin followed them. As soon as the god of poverty saw Karin, he immediately ran toward her, intending to possess her. Anzu rushed to block him, but since Karin couldn't see the god of poverty, she was confused by Anzu's actions, so Anzu finally told Karin about the existence of the god of poverty. Karin thought of her mother who had passed away. Suddenly, a bold idea came to her mind. She believed that since the god of poverty was a god, he must be able to help her meet her mother. As long as she could see her mom one more time, she was willing to do anything. In the end, the god of poverty agreed to Karin's request, but the condition was that after everything was done, she had to allow him to possess her. After that, the god of poverty took the two of them to a public restroom. He pushed open the innermost stall that was sealed with warning tape, pointed at the filthy toilet in front of them, and said, "This is the entrance to hell." Even though Karin found it hard to believe, for the sake of seeing her mother, she still crawled in together with Anzu and the god of poverty. Before long, the three of them successfully arrived in hell. This place was completely different from the dark and terrifying hell Karin had imagined. Instead, it was built like a five-star hotel. In the main lobby, countless ghosts stood in line. Different ghosts were assigned to different levels of hell, based on the points they had accumulated while alive. The other ghosts lived just like humans, working regular jobs and eating employee meals. Just as Karin began to feel that hell wasn't so frightening after all, the elevator doors suddenly opened, finally revealing hell's true nature. After that, the god of poverty led the two of them upstairs. After avoiding the patrols of the hell guards, they finally reached the floor where Karin's mother was. It turned out that ghosts who had not yet been reincarnated all worked inside this hell hotel. While searching for her mother, Karin unexpectedly ran into her father. The god of poverty told her that her father was currently being beaten and was on the brink of death. At that moment, Karin saw a familiar figure at the end of the hallway. That person was the mother she had been longing for day and night. Just as the long-separated mother and daughter reunited, the god of poverty rushed over anxiously, urging Karin to leave immediately. If the patrol guards discovered them, things would be disastrous. Before he could finish speaking, two hell guards appeared around the corner. Karin immediately grabbed her mother's hand and turned around to run. Before long, news of the escaping ghost reached King Yama. He ordered that no matter what, Karin's mother, Yuzuki, must be captured and brought back. After all, what they had done violated the laws of heaven and earth. Soon after, King Yama led a large force of hell guards into the human world. Anzu spotted a motorcycle by the roadside and immediately took the mother and daughter away. The hell guards quickly grabbed a minibus and chased after them, sensing that things were getting out of hand. Yuzuki urgently asked Anzu to stop. She said that as long as she went back, the hell guards would definitely not hurt Karin, but Karin refused to give up no matter what. She didn't want to be separated from her mother again. She wanted to take her mother and flee to the ends of the earth. But very soon, they were caught up by the hell guards. As they passed through an intersection, Anzu suddenly accelerated and rushed through. Fortunately, King Yama obeyed traffic rules. Taking advantage of that moment, they finally managed to shake off King Yama's pursuit. However, the very next second, King Yama dispatched an army of crows, relentlessly chasing after the three of them. Before long, they were forced to stop. King Yama also arrived quickly with the Hell Guards, surrounding them in an imposing formation. Just then, a sports car came speeding toward them. It turned out that Anzu's friends had arrived to help, but they were no match for the Hell Guards at all. They were quickly subdued. At this point, King Yama no longer wanted to continue this farce. With a stern expression, he walked straight toward Karin. Anzu immediately stepped in front of King Yama. As a result, he was sent flying with a single slap. The moment Anzu hit the ground, the Hell Guards immediately began beating him. Karin also rushed forward desperately, trying to stop King Yama, having never experienced complete maternal love since childhood. All she wanted now was for her mother to stay by her side. She hoped King Yama could show some mercy, but in the end, she was still struck and sent flying by King Yama. Seeing this, Yuzuki hurriedly shielded her daughter. She begged King Yama to spare Karin. She was willing to return to the underworld with him. King Yama agreed to let Karin go, but after Yuzuki returned to hell, she would have to accept punishment. After that, King Yama prepared to leave with all of his subordinates, leaving only a few minutes for the mother and daughter to say goodbye. But Karin still couldn't bring herself to leave her mother. She even wanted to follow her to hell and live there. She felt that staying in the human world held no joy for her. Seeing this, Yuzuki had no choice but to patiently guide Karin. As long as she kept living, everything would eventually get better. Yuzuki gently comforted Karin, telling her that the dead cannot be brought back to life. If Yuzuki stayed, it would only cause more trouble. If she truly wanted her mother to feel at ease, then she should live on happily and joyfully. After that, Yuzuki went to Anzu and the other spirits, and expressed her gratitude for protecting her daughter. Once everything was done, she walked toward King Yama's car. At that moment, Karin began showing her mother her handstand. It turned out that her mother had been especially good at handstands when she was alive, but no matter how long Karin practiced, she could never master it back then. After her mother passed away, Karin practiced handstands every single day, also that one day her mother could see it. In the end, her mother still left. Afraid that Karin would be heartbroken, Anzu hurried over to comfort her, telling her that he would always stay by her side. At the end of the story, Karin and Anzu returned to the town, where they unexpectedly met her father, who had been missing for a long time. It turned out that her father had never abandoned her. Back then, in order to treat his wife's illness, he had accumulated a massive debt. The reason he left Karin in the town was so he could go out and earn money to repay what he owed. Now, he had finally paid off all his debts. This time, he came back to take Karin away, but Karin couldn't feel happy at all, because she had already formed a deep bond with Anzu. Just as her father was about to leave with her, she suddenly apologized to him. Then she turned around and jumped off the train. She wanted to stay here, to stay by Anzu's side, and her father chose to respect his daughter's decision. And so, Karin ran excitedly toward her grandfather's house. The journey back from hell taught Karin the meaning of farewell, and also the meaning of companionship. Her mother's departing figure carried unspoken concern. Her father's return was filled with guilt, and Anzu's quiet presence was the most reassuring answer of all. She gave up life in the big city and ran toward the small town, because a true sense of belonging has always been found in those who are willing to stay by her side. Not every goodbye needs to be filled with regret, and not every longing has to chase after memories. Karin stayed in the town. From that day on, she was surrounded by noisy, lively spirit friends, and by her mother's blessing, quietly hidden in her heart. It turns out that the most healing kind of magic has never been a reunion that crosses life and death, but rather, in ordinary days, having someone who laughs with you, stands by you, and lives with you in the warmest way possible.